Don't be surprised that a movie will be made about this special person one day. He had many doubters along his journey, and he faced heartbreaking circumstances as a young child. He was overlooked then, and even still today. Many coaches and executives stand in their pride in passing on one of the game's most talented players ever. Lamar Jackson is the most talented quarterback in the NFL. While many view him primarily as a threat on the ground, he has made incredible strides operating out of the pocket. The Ravens were the only team willing to build around Lamar and are reaping the benefits of taking the chance on him. With an extremely well-rounded skill set, Jackson is arguably the best dual-threat quarterback the league has seen since Michael Vick, but even better. Today, we'll break down his football life, starting from his childhood, college recruitment, collegiate career, how he was overlooked on draft night, and his NFL career thus far. Lamar Demetrius Jackson Jr. was born on January 7, 1997 in Pompano Bear, Florida, to Felicia Jones and Lamar Jackson Sr. The Jackson household was filled with sports. His mother participated in track and thrived in the long jump and triple jump, while his father was a football coach and role model for his players. Tragically, when Lamar was only 8 years old, his father died from a heart attack. To make things even worse, his grandmother would also pass the same day. This level of adversity forced Lamar to grow up fast and realize how tough the world could be. Lamar began his football journey the same year, playing Pop Warner with future teammate Marquise Brown. Impressively, as an 8-year-old, Lamar could already throw the ball 20 yards and created many memories at the youth level of the sport. Lamar put himself on the map as a premier talent at Boynton Beach High School. In his 2 years as the team's starting quarterback, he threw for 2,263 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. He also picked up an additional 1,624 yards and 22 touchdowns on the ground. His high school career ended while he led the Tigers to the first round of the 2014 Florida High School Football Playoff, where Boynton Beach was sent home by Miami Central by a final score of 49-6. Despite having 2 solid high school seasons, Jackson was slightly overlooked as a recruit. His numbers were not too impressive, but watching him play, you'd see he was highly talented and raw as a QB prospect. ESPN gave him a scout grade of 79 and a 3-star rating. They also ranked him as the 17th best quarterback, 242nd best player in his region, and the 80th best player from Florida in the class of 2015. While he wasn't receiving all-out national attention from some of the top programs in the country, he still received offers from some very respectable schools, most notably from Auburn, Cincinnati, Clemson, Florida, Louisville, Nebraska, South Carolina, and West Virginia. He took visits to Nebraska, Mississippi State, Louisville, and Florida. He initially leaned towards attending Florida, but ultimately committed to Louisville on October 30, 2014. Louisville head coach Bobby Petrino promised Lamar's mother that her son would be playing quarterback and nothing else. Felicia has a huge role in Lamar's life. Even today, she's not only Lamar's mom, but also his agent, similar to how Michael Jordan's mother impacted MJ's life and his iconic deal with Nike. It didn't take long for Jackson to take over the starting spot in college. He started in the opening game of his freshman season and finished the year starting 8 of the 12 games he played. He finished the season with 1,840 yards, 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions through the air, and 960 yards and 11 touchdowns on the ground. Louisville had a solid year, finishing the season with an 8-5 record and a 27-21 win over Texas A&M in the Music City Bowl. He broke out in the 2016 season as a full-time starter. In the season's opening game, he set the Louisville record for total touchdowns in a game after scoring 8 times in the first half. The game ended in a 70-14 win for Louisville, with Jackson throwing for 286 yards, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions, and rushing for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. In his 13-game campaign, Jackson established himself as one of the most talented players in the country. He finished the year with 3,543 yards, 30 touchdowns, 9 interceptions through the air, and rushing for 1,571 yards and 21 touchdowns on the ground. He was named the ACC Offensive Player of the Year and the ACC Player of the Year and took home the prized Heisman Trophy. Louisville finished the year with a 9-4 record, falling short to LSU by a score of 29-9 in the Citrus Bowl. Jackson entered the 2017 season hoping to be the first player to win 2 consecutive Heisman since Archie Archie Griffin in the 74 and 75 seasons. He finished the year with another elite showing, throwing for 3,660 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, while rushing for 1,601 yards and 18 touchdowns. He was again named the ACC Offensive Player of the Year and ACC Player of the Year, but came just short of taking home another Heisman Trophy, finishing third behind Baker Mayfield and Bryce Love. Louisville finished the season with an 8-5 record, ending their year with a 31-27 loss to Mississippi State in the Tax Slayer Bowl. Scouts around the league did not know what to make of Jackson. He was a unique talent and very unconventional talent at that time. Some members around the league would go as far as to ask him to change positions, believing that he would better serve as a running back or wide receiver than a quarterback at the NFL level. Despite this, aspects of his game like his athletic ability, arm talent, pocket presence, field vision, and ability to throw on the run were undeniable. However, there were some serious concerns about his inaccuracy, poor footwork, and ability to stay healthy with his style of play. Some scouts believe Jackson should be selected with the first overall pick, while others saw him as a second-round talent. However, no matter where scouts had him projected to be drafted, it was tough not to compare him to Michael Vick. Draft day would be a disappointing one for Lamar Jackson. While it was up in the air where he would be selected, it was obvious that he was optimistic he would be one of the first names called. However, he was the last quarterback remaining in the green room, with Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen all being selected in front of him in the top 10. It appeared that the night would end without Jackson's name being called. However, the Baltimore Ravens made a shocking trade where they sent the 52nd and 125th picks in the 2018 draft, along with the second-round pick to the Philadelphia Eagles for the 32nd and 132nd picks in the 2018 draft. They would then select Jackson with the final pick in the first round in what would also be the final pick of general manager Ozzie Newsome's illustrious career in the front office. Despite being a first-round pick, Jackson would enter the league as a backup to Joe Flacco. The Ravens were still a contending team with the veteran Flacco at the starting spot. However, Jackson would earn the starting spot for the final 7 games of the year after Flacco went down with an injury. He was very impressive, leading the team to a 6-1 record. However, they fell to the LA Chargers in the first round of the playoffs by a final score of 23-17. This was a great start to his career. However, no one could see what he had in store the following season. Arguably, the best season of his career up to this point came in the 2019 season, when Jackson broke through as one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He finished the year throwing for 3,127 yards, a league-high 36 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions. He also picked up an additional 1,206 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground while leading the Ravens to a 13-2 record. This led to him earning his first Pro Bowl appearance, a spot on the All-Pro first team, and bringing home the MVP award. Despite the immense amount of regular season success, things would end on a sour note in the playoffs, with Baltimore falling to the Tennessee Titans in the divisional round by a final score of 28-12. In the 2020 season, Jackson threw for 2,757 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions, and picked up 1,005 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. Despite not receiving any awards in the regular season, Jackson won the first playoff game of his career in the postseason. This game came in the wild card round against the Tennessee Titans, with the Ravens winning by a final score of 20-13. However, they would fall once again in the divisional round, this time to the Buffalo Bills by a score of 17-3. The next 2 years of his career in the 2021 and 2022 seasons ended similarly. He returned to the Pro Bowl in the 2021 season. However, he could not participate in the postseason after going down with an ankle injury in Week 12 against the Cleveland Browns. His 2022 campaign was put to an early end in Week 13, where he suffered a PCL sprain against the Denver Broncos. Opinions started to believe that Lamar was being figured out by the league and that his time was coming to an end. The 2023 offseason would be very eventful for Lamar and the Ravens. During the free agency period, he was the most talked about player in the league. The Ravens struggled with negotiations because Lamar and his mother represented themselves without an agent or firm. It appeared that the Ravens were unwilling to give Jackson the contract extension he desired and instead placed a non-exclusive franchise tag on him. This would result in him publicly demanding a trade. Eventually, the two sides agreed to a 5-year, $260 million extension with $185 million guaranteed. Lamar's mother once again assisted in making sure her son got what he earned. Jackson returned to form and proved that he is still entering his prime in 2023, leading Baltimore to the top seed in the AFC with a 13-3 record. His season was awarded another Pro Bowl, and he was crowned as the league's MVP. He finished the regular season throwing for 3,678 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, while rushing for 821 yards and 5 touchdowns. Lamar has improved as a passer every year upon entering the league, and if he remains healthy, the sky is the limit for him and the Ravens for years to come. It all circles back to Lamar's draft night. We can already envision Lamar holding a Lombardi. It's only a matter of time. Thank you for watching The Halftime Show. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to follow our journey to 1 million subs. Turning on push notifications will help us stay friends. See you next time on another video.